Hello and welcome to this tutorial about Sun Salutation B. So we already have a video on our YouTube channel and in our content library that covers Sun Salutation A and Sun Salutation C. And this series of videos is going to follow the same format. So we will look at the poses that comprise Sun Salutation B. We'll look at the transitions between the poses. And then we'll do a breath counted run through, and then we'll do a talk through, and then we'll also do some sequences that are based around the general format of Sun Salutation B. So on our YouTube channel and in our content library, we have already got a video on the poses that make up Sun Salutation A. To do Sun Salutation B, you need to know Sun Salutation A, and then there's only 2 more poses that you need to learn before you're able to also complete a round of Sun Salutation B. And those poses are chair pose, Utkatasana, and warrior 1, Virabhadrasana A. So in this video, we will learn how to do chair pose and warrior 1. Okay, so chair pose is the start and end pose of Sun Salutation B. Personally, I like to do chair pose with my big toes touching, my heels slightly apart so that the sides of my feet are lined up with the sides of my mat. But if you don't like that as a stable foundation to begin your Sun Salutation, then you will widen your feet to maybe hip width apart. But you can widen them as far as it feels comfortable to go. Okay? So somewhere between big toes together and a wider step. We'll engage the belly, so gently draw the navel in and up. The way I teach it, we inhale to raise the arms overhead as if into extended mountain pose. And then on an exhalation, we bend the knees and drop down into an imaginary chair, if you like. So this is the basis of the pose. And over time, you can deepen and make additional variations to suit your practice. Things I want you to think about in Utkatasana are keeping the legs really strong. So it's a really great pose for working into your quadricep muscles if that's what you want to do. And certainly it teaches us endurance and we can use our breath to help us as the legs start to burn if we hold this position. I want you to think about the weight distribution. So in Utkatasana, the weight is in the back of the heels and through the hips. And so we should be able to lift up all our toes and then pop them down onto the mat. Your tailbone. I want your tailbone and your pelvis to be neutral. So when we're in the pose, don't stick your bottom out and don't tuck your tail under. So no bums out, no tails under, a neutral pelvis. Okay, so just follow the natural curve of your spine. Your knees can have as much of a bend in as suits you. And then with the arms, we want them straight. We want to try and draw them up, maybe even in line with your ears. And then your gaze can either be ahead, or you could look up to the space between your palms, or you could bring your palms together. Okay? So the knees are bent, the pelvis is neutral, the belly is in, my flying ribs are drawing in, my arms are as straight as I can get them, and I'm looking up. If any of those options don't feel good for you, you find a variation. So if you don't want to look up, you don't have to. You look ahead. And then to release the pose, on an inhalation, straighten your legs, and on an exhalation, release your arms down to the side of the body. So that's chair pose. And I normally teach Sun Salutation B with the first round of Sun Salutation B holding the chair and holding Virabhadrasana 1 for 5 breaths on the first time round. Okay, warrior 1. So, warrior 1. So in Sun Salutation B, you'll arrive in Warrior One from Downward Facing Dog. But for now, let's just practice the setup of the pose by stepping to a wide step, about the same length, same width as you would do for Warrior Two. And then the front foot, in this case is my right foot, faces 12 o'clock, and then the back foot turns in slightly. But you don't have to turn the back foot in. You can leave it at 45 degrees if you wish. We're trying to turn the hips forward. We're putting a bend into the front knee. So the thing about Warrior One and the traditional alignment of hips forward is that for a lot of us, and I include myself in this, it's really hard to bring your hips forward, all the way forward. So you just do your best at that. And if, with the right leg forward, they may be heading a little off to the left, just be comfortable with that and just try over time to start that movement, just gently drawing a bit more round to the front of the room. Okay, so let's keep thinking about the legs. We're trying to get the front knee over the front ankle. And once again, the front thigh, the quadricep muscle is really strong. I want you to push down strongly through your back foot. So when you push down strongly in your back foot, engage into your back thigh so that you can keep your back leg strong and straight. So don't let your knee drop down here. Keep it nice and straight. So with the hips as forward as we can have them, we then bring our arms up over our head. And then try and keep your arms as straight as you can. So we don't want to have a big bend in the elbows. To try and straighten them as much as possible. And then we gaze forward. Other things that we could do would be to look up, and we could also bring the palms together. Okay. So that is your Warrior One. And then if you're practicing now, you also need to practice it on the other side because it's an asymmetric pose. So drawing the hips forward, squeezing into the back thigh, bending into the left knee this time, drawing the hips around. Hips want to go off to the right. Try and bring them back to the center, arms overhead, gazing either forward or maybe looking up. Maybe bringing the palms together. Okay, so there we go. The 2 extra poses that you need to be able to do for Sun Salutation B. In the next video, we will put it all together. No, we won't. We'll do the transitions into and out of chair pose and Warrior One, and then we'll work into some full rounds. Namaste.